Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. In the video for today, we are going to be discussing airdrops and everything about them. So after watching this video, you guys should know what an airdrop is, how you can participate in them and actually start farming for them, and generally just a couple of good projects to look out for and some potential airdrops that are coming up in the future. But before we jump into that, I did want to quickly update you guys on my One Solana challenge wallet. As most of you know, we are on a bit of a dip right now. And for those of you who are confused right now and wondering what's going on, I did mention in my Telegram channel yesterday the reason why the markets are dipping a little bit. So I did want to give you guys a bit of a heads up that if you were overexposed to memes, it probably was a good idea to sell off some of your riskier ones because some of these dips are going to get nasty. And I also threw it up in my Twitter here. Basically, the Department of Justice is now cleared to sell $6.5 billion worth of Bitcoin that they seized from the Silk Road originally. And, this is causing, a little bit of fear amongst participants in the market. I do think that most of it is pretty much priced in at this point, but I would expect Bitcoin to be pretty volatile for the next few days, and with that, so will our memes and so will the altcoins. So for today's video, I'm not going to jump too much into a market update because the market update for today is that there are discounts across the board. So if you want to see what I'm going to be buying, because I will be buying today, feel free to join the Telegram or the Discord channel because I post all of the things that I do on a daily basis there, 100% free, and it always will be. Okay, so let's just jump straight into things about airdrops. And the first thing you guys are probably wondering is what even is an airdrop, and how can you participate? And the easiest and simplest way I can answer that is an airdrop is essentially like a free giveaway of crypto tokens that a project or company will distribute to people's wallets in exchange for certain tasks. A lot of airdrops have actually evolved in recent times, and now a lot of projects are using it basically as a user acquisition strategy, but we can talk about that a little more in the future. So the good news for you guys watching this is that there are going to be a lot of airdrops that come out, especially on Solana in the next, 4 to 6 months, I would say, just because they realize how many people are starting to use Solana, and they realize that it is a good way for them to attract more users to their platform. So they have been increasing the amount of eligible wallets on recent airdrops. Like the best example I can give to that is the most recent airdrop that happened for kind of the Web3 ecosystem was the Pudgy Penguins Pengu token drop. And I think there were 7 million eligible wallets for that. So a lot of people who weren't expecting tokens actually got them. Now, the important thing to know though is that there is a ton of variance from, different airdrops. So something that you might get from an airdrop like Pengu, which we talked about briefly in a previous video, as opposed to something that you might get for the Jupiter airdrop that's actually coming up at the end of this month, can be very different, and the tasks that you have to do can be very different amongst different airdrops. So let's quickly talk about a few examples of, how you could potentially get an airdrop for doing a specific task. You might qualify for an airdrop if you use a specific blockchain or blockchain platform like a DApp. You might get an airdrop if you're holding a certain crypto in your wallet, a certain token from a certain community, or you might get an airdrop for, like I said, completing specific tasks. And just to give you a few more examples of some of those tasks and what they might be, it might be something like staking a particular crypto asset or providing liquidity for a particular asset. And don't worry, because we are going to talk about those concepts in further detail in future videos, so just stay tuned to my channel. Okay, and before we jump into some real world examples and how you can actually start participating in certain airdrops from certain communities, I need to make one thing perfectly clear for you guys. You aren't ever going to be clicking a link for an airdrop that comes up in a random comment section, or there's a million places that you might see something that says click here to claim your free airdrop, and that is always going to be a scam. That is always going to be a wallet drainer. So please listen to this part really quickly. With essentially every airdrop that you are going to be eligible for or participate in, there is going to be an airdrop eligibility checker, or there's going to be a way for you to verify the amount of supply of the airdrop that you are going to receive before you receive it. And it is absolutely vital that you are checking your wallets before you're, trusting what you're seeing on different Twitter accounts or from your friends or whatever the case may be. So 100% of the time, when you are actually looking to see if you are eligible for a airdrop, you are going to be inputting your wallet address into an airdrop checker, clicking a button, and figuring out if you are actually going to be eligible for the airdrop instead of just trusting things that you're seeing online. Because guys, a huge thing that scammers do is try to get people to fall for fake airdrops. And just to make things perfectly clear for you guys, there is always going to be a set of criteria that needs to be met for you to receive an airdrop. So don't just assume that you're going to be getting one just because other people are getting one. Okay, and now with the security warning out of the way, we can actually jump into some real world examples. And hopefully, if you guys have actually been paying attention to my channel, you have been using Jupiter to at least some extent, because that is part of the reason why I initially told everybody to use Jupiter. It's because they are releasing a huge airdrop very soon, and 2 million wallets are going to be eligible. So yeah, if you guys have been using Jupiter and paying attention to my videos, there's a good chance that you actually will qualify for this airdrop that's coming up on the 31st. We are going to talk about all of the eligibility requirements right now, so you guys can get a better understanding of if you're eligible or not. But before we talk about the eligibility requirements, just so that you guys are aware of some of the tasks that would qualify for an airdrop, if you're using the swap feature, you probably, depending on when you actually were using it, probably will be eligible for the airdrop. And if you're using any of these other features up top here, like the perps option or the ape, or the DCA feature, you probably will get a bigger airdrop, because those are kind of more complex products and they reward users for doing kind of different tasks. So I actually went ahead and reposted this thread on my Twitter, because this is where you can get all of the valuable information that you will need for the January distribution for the Jupiter airdrop. And essentially the basic breakdown is that there's going to be 700 million Jupe tokens distributed. Right now, I think Jupiter is at 0.86 cents per token. So there's going to be about 500 million that are distributed between users and stakers. Then there's going to be 200 million tokens that are going to be released for people who are basically have had airdrops in the past and have continuously supported the Jupiter community, and also the good cats. So people like content creators or people who have made positive contributions or done external work for the Jupiter ecosystem. So basically, if you're watching this video, you probably would fall into the bucket here of users or stakers. I know that most of you don't know what staking is yet, so you'd probably fall into this bucket. And this would be a fixed amount per wallet. So as opposed to this amount of the supply, which is variable dependent on other factors. So if you've gotten previous Jupiter airdrops in the past and you have held those airdrops or continue to stake them, you probably will get a bigger allocation with this carrots over here. And the good cats is all application based, so you actually need to tell Jupiter the work that you have done for them if you want to apply for that. Okay, and moving down the line here, in terms of eligibility, these are the requirements basically for swap users. There's going to be about 2 million eligible wallets. This is just a draft though, so take this with a grain of salt. And essentially the only qualifications are that you're not a bot essentially, and that you've done over $1,000 in swap volume. And just so that we are all on the same page here, I'm referring to the main feature of the application. And essentially, if you have used Jupiter before December, I would say, and you've done over $1,000 in swap volume, you might be eligible. Obviously, I don't know when their snapshot was. I don't know what the specific requirements are yet, but if you had been following along, you probably will be eligible for a small allocation. But let's move down the list here and actually see what the eligibility of the swap user tiers are. So basically, tier 1, if you're doing over 14 million in volume, you're going to be getting 20k Jupe per wallet that you've done that on. So I don't think that's going to apply to most of us here. But really in the tier 5 to tier 4 range is, or maybe even tier 3 is where most of you would fall under. And 50 Jupe per wallet. So you're looking at, like a $40 airdrop or something along those lines. And, for the 29k estimated qualifying volume or higher, you would be getting something like 250 Jupe tokens per wallet. But keep in mind that this is per wallet, so there is a chance that if you have multiple wallets that you've been transacting on Jupiter with, there is a chance that you would get multiple airdrops. And guys, as you can see, this can be extremely lucrative if you're actively participating in the space, because for example, I think I have probably 15 to 20 Jupiter wallets that have done over $800 in volume. So I might be getting a pretty decent airdrop here. So like I said, you get rewarded for doing different tasks. So, if you are only using the swap feature, this is what you would refer to. But if you have been using, some of their other features on their platform, like their perps feature or their DCA or the limit orders feature, there are extra tiers. I haven't really gone into detail about most of these other features on their platform except for DCA and limit orders. So you guys probably will not be eligible for the expert trader allocation, but it's something to look out for if you've been participating actively and using their other features. And then I'm almost positive none of you have done any of the staking requirements, because we have not talked about it yet on this channel. But again, stay tuned, because I'm going to be releasing a lot of educational content around staking, providing liquidity, and a bunch of other different things that you can do in this ecosystem. So just stay tuned on my channel to learn more about those things. So for those of you who have been in the space for a while and you aren't new to the crypto space, you may have already received a Jupiter allocation last January. So if you did and you were still holding that allocation, you should be expecting a little bit more Jupiter in each of your wallets than the rest of the pack, because they are rewarding people who have held their airdrops. So that's just another thing to keep in mind if you're trying to get into the airdrop community. If you are getting airdrops, there's a good chance that you will receive more airdrops in the future from a lot of these projects. So you don't give up on these projects the day after the airdrop and sell all your tokens, because if you don't, you can be rewarded greatly. And guys, like I said earlier, if you think that you've made positive contributions to the Jupiter ecosystem, apply for the good cats, because they are going to be rewarding people who have positively impacted the community. So that is the overview about what is going to be happening on January 31st. But again, this isn't set in stone. I mean, they literally say it right here, and feedback is appreciated. So a lot of things could still change between now and the actual airdrop date. So as always, you guys need to be on top of these things. Follow my channel, because I'll talk about it probably the day before the airdrop happens. Another really cool thing about Jupiter is that all of the things that they are doing, they basically put up for vote within their community. And this is a concept called governance, which we will discuss in future videos. But for now, we won't jump into it in this video. Okay, so that is the overview about Jupiter's airdrop specifically. And again, this is happening within the next 20 days. So, pay attention to this, and, ask me any questions if you want in the Telegram or Discord. I'll be happy to answer them if you guys are confused. But another airdrop that I am personally looking out for, and one that I recommend you guys getting on board for, is going to be Meteora. And don't worry, because we are going to do an entire overview of this platform in a future video. This is what I mean when I talk about providing liquidity. So we will go over this very soon. And I do want to say, I don't know for sure if they're going to be launching an airdrop, but I am pretty confident in it. So, but let me just say also that you can never be too sure until the project actually announces it. So right now, this is all speculation. Do not quote me on it. But I will be making a video on providing liquidity here in the very short term. Okay, and since we're speculating, I also think that a lot of these trading bots on Telegram and just their web apps in general are going to be releasing airdrops for users that have been trading on their platform. So, Photon is one that I personally have been using for a while now. Nova is another one that I've been using, and a lot of people are using BullX, so maybe I'll make a video about that in the future. And guys, the last thing I'll say in this video is that there is some heavy speculation right now that Phantom is going to be releasing an airdrop, because they recently just announced a new feature basically where you can customize your profile. You can make your own account essentially on Phantom and then follow people. So there is a lot of speculation on this right now. Again, don't quote me on any of this. Nothing I'm saying in any of my videos is financial advice, and please make decisions for yourself. But if you do have a Phantom wallet, there is a chance maybe that they will release an airdrop. So, if you've been following this channel, you should already be in good positions to receive some airdrops. But again, in the future, we will be talking about other protocols where we can actually do tasks to farm points and get bigger airdrops. So stay tuned to my channel. We will talk about this in the future. But guys, just to recap, airdrops are an absolutely essential part of the Web3 ecosystem, and for new traders and new people who are entering the space, it can be the most lucrative way for you guys to stack up a decent portfolio without really having to put out too much risk. So I highly recommend participating in the Web3 community wherever you can, and try out other dApps and try out different protocols. Just really put yourself out there in this space originally, because you never know when you're going to be rewarded for it. But that is going to wrap up the video for today. And if you guys want to see what I am going to be doing for the rest of the day during this heavy meme coin dip, feel free to join the Telegram or Discord. They will always be free, and I will see you in there. Thanks so much for watching, and see you tomorrow.